Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Well, you say morning, but it's night, right? So you could say good night. Different time
It's
zones.
it's technically morning. Once it's past 12 a.m. It's morning.
Very, very early morning. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. For today's topic, you came up with. I basically asked you. You want to come up with a topic, and you chose one. What is that we're going to talk about today?
Yeah. Today's topic is reflection on success and failure. So I think to better discuss further on this topic, we should probably understand or define what we understand, what success is and what failure is, and what it means to each person, each individual, because it depends on what we see as success. That is what we would pursue as a goal to reach a specific, uh, I want to say destination, but success is not a destination; it's a journey. On the journey to success. So, question
Okay.
to you: what do you think is what do you see as success?
Um. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's an interesting one because it. I think it has many facets, many faces, and different yeah perspectives for different people. But if I look at how I perceived success when I was younger, it would be focused mostly on um, the physical achievements, right? So you go to school, you get good grades, that's success. And then you get into the highest education possible, that's success. And then you get a good job with a solid salary and a good safety net around it with everything sorted, success. And then you earn money so you can buy a nice house, success. Nice car, more success. Go on a holiday to a far destination, success. Marry someone, success. So I think the basis is we kind of know this one, right? So we build this life based on a almost Disney-like picture of success. And while pursuing that journey, you find out that it doesn't necessarily give you happiness. It might give you some fulfillment, but it also make you wonder if I can achieve this, and which is a luxury. I mean, in many countries you won't be able to achieve this at all, so you would be more than happy to get half of this, maybe, you know. Um, but then you go wonder, but okay, all that safety and achievement and owning stuff, does it really make me happy? And then you get the difference between success in the eyes of uh, the public opinion and success what you feel inside. Um, so that's a bit of my journey in this one. That my success now revolves more about um, my family thriving in a sense that they are happy. And then you might want to ask, what is happiness to you? And then we can fill another 12 episodes of podcast finding happiness. But happiness is more a state of mind than it is something that you can purchase or achieve or get. It's more a way of how you perceive life and how you will. I mean, if the basics are there, you have a safe environment, you have a home, and you have food. So the Maslow pyramid, you're basically reaching somewhere at the top levels. Then you can discuss happiness, and then find out that it's the part where you just enjoy being. So that's a success way of looking at success. But you could also look at your social status. I mean, that's for a lot of people, it's just social status. how others perceive you, because social status is being given by others, um, is success. So if I live in a bigger house than my neighbors, then I have a higher social status in theory based on my possessions. That could be a form of success, I guess. Not one I care about, but this is people buy a lot of shit to impress people they don't like. So I guess this is still something, and I think much of the marketing that we are being exposed to is based on this idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been rambling now. Does it make
Yeah,
any sense to you?
yeah, I do agree with you. I think as human race, we associate success to materialistic things or physical things. But in all honesty, I think success is also achieving a specific goal that you set for yourself. So, for example, if it's achieving a good grade in school as a student and you achieve those good grades, that could be determined as success. If it's buying a house or getting married or having a set number of kids or buying a specific kind of car, those are goals. And once those goals are met, that means you are successful in achieving those goals. Happiness, on the other hand, is a different ball game, like you said. Being successful doesn't necessarily make you happy because um, what I've noticed is arriving at your goal is not it's no longer a criteria for happiness. The
Uh,
the reaching your goal doesn't necessarily bring you happiness, but it's the journey from your current status to reaching that goal that determines your level of happiness. So we're not going to gamble into happiness today. We're just going to focus on the success part.
and failure, right? So
Yeah, and failure and the lesson we learn from both. So let's say um, we set a goal for ourselves, right? To do XYZ by XY date. And we were able to achieve that goal and we are successful. What would be the lesson learned when you were actually successful achieving a specific goal? Question to you.
yeah, this was me thinking. um, I think the journey part, I really love that because I even I kind of like the idea of if you want to reach something or you want to be successful at anything. I always say half of the work is showing up. So I think that's the journey part, right? So you have
Yeah.
to start doing something. If you want to become a good pianist, you'll have to take piano lessons and you'll have to start practicing on the piano. If you don't do that, you can all say, I'm not a very successful piano player, but you never tried, right? So I don't think you know if you're going to be a successful piano player, but because you never even went there. So the journey is indeed a very important part of that. I think the success will teach you that if you are persistent and you keep on doing it and you keep on practicing, I know that everyone can achieve a certain level of greatness and a certain level of success. So if you just show
Mm.
up every day and you keep practicing on the piano, even if you're technically the worst piano player ever, if you learn the basics and you keep doing that day or day or day, and you every day you're gonna be better than most other people in playing the piano. Compared to the big piano players of this planet, you're gonna be terrible. But compared to you and me, who I don't know about you, but compared to me, who doesn't play the piano, you're gonna be great because you're gonna be able to play some tunes on the piano, and I won't be able to play anything, right? So success. in achieving something shows you that putting in the effort will work. And I don't believe in the success or the learnings from success that happened accidentally. So, for example, you get called by a notary saying you have an uncle, you had an uncle, he died, he put you in his will, you're getting all his money, you're going to be rich. An uncle you didn't even know you had, it's imaginary uncle, and suddenly you're rich. I think you're going to be happy with the money, but you didn't achieve it, right?
Yeah.
You didn't put in the effort. So it's different. If you work towards something and you put in the effort and you achieve something, you can be tremendously proud on that, and you learn that putting in the effort will lead to that success. So I think that's very strong. That you should be able to learn that and be able to learn to strategize on. I have a goal. I want to achieve the goal, but the goal is far away. And being a pianist could be a goal, but buying a house could be a goal. And especially now, it's harder than, well, for a very long time to achieve a home when you were starting on the housing market. But I still think that if you start today saving money for your house and you visualize the idea of purchasing your own house and you go for that and you don't get distracted and you don't let yourself derail yourself by thinking, I'm never going to buy a house. Because that's the way you're never going to buy a house. The only way you're going to buy a house sooner, or in this case, probably a bit later, is by saving that money and adjusting your needs, maybe. I think, yeah. So I think that's what I learned from my success. And what I call success is having this journey behind me and then achieving something and then being very proud of that because I did that.
Great. By the way, when you were talking about being successful playing piano, I was thinking you could be the best pianist ever, but let's say you did not commercialize that skill, so you didn't make money from it.
Mm-hmm.
People will not consider you successful, right? Compared to someone who's making millions from playing that instrument, because
Uh,
that's just the society we live today, right?
you're right. You're right. I mean, it came to mind the people that you sometimes see in the video clips that they walk into this train station where they have placed this piano in the middle hall, right?
Yeah,
And some no you see a person that looks like a no just a regular NPC basically, a
yeah.
non-person player or character. It sits down, starts playing beautifully on the piano, and then people go around and film it, and they ask, "Oh, are you a professional pianist?" And they go like, "No, I just play the piano." And then in that moment, they are successful because they touch everyone that hears the music, and they stop on their way to the trains and they film it, and they. While in the meanwhile, you could say they're not very successful in commercializing their talent, maybe. Yeah.
That was a documentary I also watched that they did something similar to that. There is I don't remember the name of this artist. He was also playing maybe piano or guitar or something like that. So he went to the subway to play. Nobody gave attention. I think he probably made like $5,
Yeah.
right?
The
But
violin player or something was that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the next day, the same guy played the same thing he played in the subway at the arena where there are like tens of thousands of people attending, right? So it's if like I said, we attach money or physical things to success. So if you are very good at what you do, if you are a very good basketball player or a footballer or an artist, for example, uh, movie actor or actress, but you are not rich enough, nobody will call you successful. That is the world we
Okay,
live in.
but that
Or you
means
don't
that.
get the opportunity to
But
go
you,
further.
okay, so on the one side, if you want to achieve something, you want to achieve a goal, you want to be successful in what you want to achieve, which is one
Mhm.
perspective of success. You'll have to show up, start doing it.
Yes.
The other side is the perspective of uh, achievement goes with the monetary value or the social status or whatever. And that means that if you are in the wrong place and not able to um, commercialize your success, you basically are not successful in the eyes of others. I mean, you could say, if you're very romantic, that the person playing the violin beautifully in the subway is very successful because, yeah, I don't know, you have reasons he has time to do it, or
Yeah.
he's still a very good violin player. While if he stands in the arena, his checkbook is being filled uh, by 50,000 people instead of 5 people giving them $1. So that's a different perspective of success. Yeah, it's interesting, especially for musicians, where the location where you perform makes all the difference.
Yeah.
But yeah,
True.
but maybe for everyone, if you are not valued for who you are, you might be in the wrong place. You might be very valuable, but you are not valued. There's always thinks about this story about this old car, this classic car. So a dad gives his daughter a car, very old, rusty car. She said, "What do I do with this old crappy car?" And he said, "Go, bring it to the garage and let them say what they think." She goes to the nearest garage and they say, "Well, this is an old crappy car. It's like $50 worth of old steel." And she goes home. Yeah, they say it's like a $50 car. And he says, "Oh, go to this group of people that meet up on old cars some days. Go there and let's see what they say." And then he goes there. Well, she goes there with the car, and they say, "Whoa, that's an old classic car. That's a good find. It's like $5,000 at least." So she comes home and she said, "Well, they say it's $5,000." And then he says, "Bring it to an auction. Let's see what they say." And then she get the car auctioned, and the car is like 200 grand worth because it's a special first edition of a very old classic car that no one knew about. And then she comes home with the 200 grand. She said, "Well, now I'm rich because it was wealthy because it was like 200 grand." And the teaching of this silly story is basically that you're valuized partly in what you do and what you can, but also in where you put it to work. So
Yeah.
if you are in a workplace where you're not valued and you know you have certain skills, you should consider moving to a place where you are being valued.
True.
But
True.
okay, this is a bit of I'm derailing your topic all the time. You have to push me back.
No, it's an it's an open topic, right? All right. So let's move to failure. Um, what lesson do we learn from failure?
For me, if you so the times that I felt like I failed, I didn't fail myself, but I failed others. I have very strong emotions with memories attached to me getting not great grades at school and my father calling me out on it, saying, "How could this happen? And what should we do with you with your poor grades?" And then I felt like a failure, not because I got the grades, but because I disappointed my dad, and he was disappointed in me for me getting those grades. So I think the failure was not my struggle in school at that particular moment, but was the fact that I really felt like a failure in the eyes of my dad. Um, uh, in sports, I felt like a failure many times because I've never been able to excel in any kind of sport. So that was a bit of my weak spot until, like, I guess 6, 7 years ago. I was transforming myself into a nice little couch potato. And my wife said, "How about if I give you some personal training hours?" Very subtle and I kind of never felt proud of myself. And then I start training and working out and pushing myself harder than I ever did because this trainer just said, another rep, another round, another exercise. And they just keep you pushing. And the first few times the training tastes like blood and vomit. So it's not great. But after like 3 months, you're through this and you're starting to find your new self. And after a year, I was stronger than I ever was. I was breaking the gym's records on strength. And I found what my sporting thing was, and it was strength. I apparently I can be stronger than average man or something. But the thing is that the failure that I felt held me back. It didn't motivate me to try harder. And the last like 6 7 years, I kind of learned to overcome the feeling of being a failure by stepping up the game. I mean, so before that, I would rather give up or dodge or step away or give up, which is painful. It hurts. Doing that is really painful, and it hurts your self-esteem. And so when I'm reading the books about how failure can help you improve, this kind of failure where you really feel like you are a disappointment or you cannot be good at anything, it doesn't work. It is not giving you any benefit in growth. It starts giving you benefit growth when you use it to your advantage to figure out what is not working. But that means you have to have the mindset that you are able to accept failure. And you're starting to see failure as, okay, I didn't lift this much weight. That's the failure of the rep because I'm not strong enough yet. So I need to do better next time. And then it will motivate you to eat good and sleep good and work out more so you can lift that weight. And then after a while, it won't be a failure. But if you're not in that mindset, you go like, oh, I cannot lift this up. I'm just going to sit on the couch and come. So my take of failure is that I read the book about failing the right way. And I think one of the problems with failure is that on the one hand, it's the quickest way of learning. And on the other hand, it could also be very destructive. If it's really, if your mindset is not right. So having, for example, if you have kids, I know you have, but giving them success moments where they see they can succeed is very important. They need to know that if they put in the effort, they can succeed. If you let them put in the effort and they fail, and you say you have to try harder, and you let them fail again, yeah, you just have to try harder. After a while, they'll give up. It's like the fleas in the jar, right? You know that experiment. So for everyone who doesn't know, they put a lot of fleas in a jar and they would jump out. So they would put the lid on and they would jump against the lid. And after a while, you can put the lid off and they will never jump higher than where the lid once was. So they are limited by the jar lid. And that's because they had so many failures jumping against the lid. So they learned we shouldn't jump that high because we gotta hurt our head. Or I don't know what they get from it. So if that happens and you notice by yourself that you are, and I think many people have been jumping against the lid, and when the lid is gone for some reason, or you remove the lid yourself, you need to learn to jump out of the jar again, being a nice little high jumping flea. So my relationship with failure has changed tremendously this last 7 years, and I'm already mid-40s. So I can imagine that a lot of people are not willing to take that much risk of failure because it hasn't given them anything good yet. They just felt like a failure, and they were told that they were the disappointment, or yeah. So I think that's my take on it.
Yeah, while failure can be very stressful, disappointing, I always see failure as a lesson, like I'm being taught a lesson. So, for example, before I was married, when I was single, every bad relationship I'm in, I always felt like, okay, so I'm probably just getting prepared for the right woman to come to my life, and what I should do or should not do when I'm married or stuff like that. So I always think when I see a breakup as a failure in a relationship, but also as a lesson for what I should know or not know when I go into marriage.
But what if you? I mean, there's a lot of discussion about this online about all the incel movement and the alpha male movement and whatever. And I have a feeling that being turned down by your partner is
Mhm.
being felt like you failed and you're not worthy. And I
Yeah,
mean, so for
yeah,
you, that's very powerful if you are capable of seeing it as a teaching instead of I'm not worthy of a relationship. You're just not working in this relationship, but you're preparing yourself for the next one. That's an
yeah,
optimistic view, right? So how
yeah.
did you get that? Where did you find it? Where did you buy it? Give me the link on Amazon so we can share it with our listeners.
I'm selling a course. It's 5.99.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. We should capitalize on this for our success.
Yeah.
No, but it's joking aside, it's an honest question. I mean, getting that much confidence in okay, this is just a teaching.
Well, I don't know if it's confidence or not, but um, whenever there is a situation that happens, and I always try to analyze what happened,
Yeah.
what was my fault, what was her fault, what I could have done better, and did I actually do something, and did it work out? So if everything I tried did not work out, and then I just say, okay, we are not compatible, and I'll find someone better. She doesn't appreciate, uh, not really say she doesn't appreciate the person I am, but because that sounds narcissistic, but more like compatibility.
We don't
So
want to sound narcissistic. No.
yeah, because if you're in a relationship, you want to be humble as well because you're not always in control of everything.
But
But anyway, so in those kind of failure, I always see it as a lesson learned. And my next relationship, I try to do things in a better way
eh,
than I did than I did in the past. So those are the kind of mindset I bring into some of the failures. While if it keeps happening every time, right? If it keeps happening every time, let's say, for example, in a year, I'm just giving an example, but let's say I'm dating one woman every week, right?
mm-hmm.
So I'm dating like 52 women a year, and I'm getting rejected 52 times a year. That can be depressing. And at some point, I might think, oh, maybe date relationship is not just for me. I should just be a monk or a reverend father and never get married
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, okay, yeah. So I just I refer to the incel moving thing and movement thing, and then one of the people that I uh, heard say saying things about this. He's Jordan Peterson, right? He's not liked by everyone, and he has opinions that I do not really support. But this particular part where he says to young men, "Go fix your life first. You're not being turned down because you're a bad person, but you're being turned down because you have your life messed up. So buy
Mhm.
proper clothing, spend some time on your personal hygiene, clean out your room. I mean, the examples he shows as he talks about as a therapist, he has young men cleaning up their room and start as a starting point to sort their life. I think that's strong. I mean,
Yeah,
I do think that if you are turned down like 52 people by 52 women in this case, that there might be something wrong, but not per se with you. There might be something wrong with what you represent or what you show or what you bring to the table. Um, because
Mm,
at the end of the line, when you're going into a relationship, it's something that it's not only do I like this person, but it's also does this person bring me something I can build my life on, a certain
yeah.
level of prosperity, safety, and everything else. So if you're living with your mom and your room is a big mess and you look like, yeah, like you don't even wash your hair once a month, I can imagine that there are 52 women that will turn you down. Um, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. And in that case, even if you find one that did not turn you down, that's a big red flag.
so you first have to mess up your room, mess up your life, and then go around to find out the red flag women. Yeah, that's you are a true master
Um,
in thinking things around. I'm not turned
uh,
down 51 times and then I have luck one time. No, I found this red flag woman.
yeah,
You should be careful with this one because she likes me. Not a good sign.
not a good sign.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to the success failure thing. That is the kind of mindset that I sometimes bring to the to failures.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that I'm always like very positive in failure situations, but at the end of the failure, I just have to move on because that is life. You have to move on. You have to carry on and do what you need to do next. If
Yeah.
it failed the business, you need to either do a different one or do the same thing in a different way. It's whatever goal you want to achieve, find a new strategy to try to achieve it. If the goal is the same, the plan can change. The goal can still remain the same, and you still find a way to achieve that goal. Easier said than done, uh, so to speak, but that is the kind of um, relationship I've tried, although extremely difficult,
Mm-hmm.
that I've tried to build with failures and success. It shows you what you can do.
Well, you mentioned at the start about the journey. So if you
Mm,
say achieving the end of the journey that leads to the goal is the success, but you turn it
mm,
around, you say, well, the journey, uh, doing that successfully is the success. You don't even have to reach that goal, right? If you have fun along the line. So, for example, you say, I want to, I don't know, achieve, I want to be the most successful pianist. Let's not take a financial goal on
yeah,
purpose in this case. I want to be the most successful pianist. And along the way, you learn to play the piano. You get to play it in local venues. You get to play it in the central station of the trains. You get invited on some small events because you're a good piano player. You play it on a summer on a cruise ship because that's which gives you money. You play the piano in a dinner room with all interested tourists there. It's not becoming the biggest pianist, but you are a very successful piano player in that matter. And I think those steps towards a possible breakthrough are so much enjoyable that yeah, if you don't see that as a success, you're going to have a very hard life. That's the other way around, basically.
yeah. It's not measuring the big success. Every step you should count your success,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If you know just how to play one key today, and then next week you already know how to play three keys on the piano, that's success. That's
yeah.
improvement,
And the people
and should be celebrated.
you get to know people along the way, and you build relationships, and
Yeah,
you start to become a pianist because that's at the end uh, what happens if you start doing it, you become it, right? So and then in that case, the failure would be not playing the piano. Uh, and failure could feel when you are turned down. You go like, I want to be part of an orchestra or something, and they say, no, not good enough. We've seen you play on a cruise ship. we don't hire people from recruit. You get turned down, and then it might feel like a failure. But yeah.
One question though. So let's continue using the playing the piano as a thing. Let's say you try to learn playing the piano. You've tried everything. You've been to different teachers because maybe your first or second teacher were not good. You've tried everything, but you still could not achieve the level of expertise that you expect yourself to be. When is the right time to determine that maybe piano is not for you? When do you accept that failure and just stop and move on to the next one?
Um, if I look at my entrepreneurship, I think it has to do with running out of money. When you have to decide to do something else, if you figured you're going to make money with some enterprise or something that you think you can make money on, and it doesn't work, then you'll have to pull the plug at a certain point in time, and it's mostly money driven. I think entrepreneurs that are unable to do that in time go bankrupt and lose everything. So I think the whole fail fast kind of movement comes from this, whatever you think of this, but it's about not letting the for playing the piano, if it's not interfering with your daily survival and your daily life, I don't think you need to necessarily stop it when you still enjoy that journey, because you're doing that journey just for you. So you have a goal, you want to be a good piano player, maybe even the best. And in theory, if you could take lessons for 1,000 years, you might become good, but you don't have 1,000 years, right? So I think that's going to be the monetary thing here is time. You really want to spend so much time trying to do this while you notice that all the teachers, they are very patient with you, but after a while, every single one says, you're the most talentless piece of crap I've ever heard playing the piano, so get out. Not nice. Might be a red flag for this particular teacher, but but at the end, I do think that yeah, you could spend a lot of time on this. And for me, for example, in sports, I've never played a sport very long, so I've never became good at sports. And then I saw myself in a very low. So I kind of gave up on sports. So I did some working out, I did some fitness and everything. And then I noticed I could be somewhat good at something because I put in more effort. That for me was great. And I've never become a bodybuilder or a powerlifter or everything. So that's way up. And these people are way more stronger than I ever was. But that's not the point. The point was that I fought against myself and I noticed that I could do something pretty well in a pretty short time because I found something what my set of genes would help me with. So for the piano part, personally, I would after a while figure, well, I'm not enjoying this as much as I could because I'm not making any progress. That would kill it for me and remove the joy from playing the piano. And I would probably consider doing something else. But that's, I don't know if that's necessarily failure.
But maybe you're looking at piano in this case as a hobby. If you're trying to
Yeah,
be a professional pianist, then um, it's going to, because I always watch or listen to all these success stories of some actresses or actors who were turned down several times and then they become homeless and sleeping in their cars, and they still stayed in LA for a while before someone gave them a chance and all these kind of things, and they only had $20 or whatever before they had a breakthrough. Um, and all this while they kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And these are the successful ones that we were able to hear the stories. There are a lot of other people that also kept on pushing and pushing and pushing that could not make it. They didn't make it to the
no,
limelight. So
it's
we didn't hear their stories, right?
you're explaining selection bias, right? So this is
Yeah.
I've been to Hollywood Boulevard with the hands on the floor. The not so successful wannabe actors are still there, but they're homeless. They're living in a box on Hollywood
Yeah,
Boulevard. So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Um,
And also you mentioned about failing fast, which I agree with, but also failing fast, and because to fail fast, you want to know if something is going to be a success
mhm.
within a year, not in the next 10 years,
Yeah.
right? As soon as possible. But the problem with failing fast is you might look like a quitter, right? Because you say, oh, this is not working after 6 months, I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
That is what I'm still struggling to find the balance on when it's the right time to abandon ship when something is not working out, or keep on pushing
Well,
until.
if playing the piano would be your career, it's going to be very easy. Either you're very talentful, quick learner, charismatic, you're able to get yourself into venues, you're able to play the piano very well very quickly. Otherwise, you're never going to be successful because it's being a musician is particularly hard. There are a lot of people that are capable of playing the piano in some form or way. There are not so many people that get paid to play the piano in some form or way. So you have to be a very good piano player and find work quickly. So I think if you're going down that path, you should have a very realistic view of what is needed to become a very successful piano player and how you're going to make money with playing the piano that's enough to make a living.
Mm,
So then it's more like a business model approach where you give yourself a certain amount of time. For example, I save my money. I got like 3 months to learn to play the piano, and then 3 months to start making a business out of it to earn money. So I have 6 months, and along the way you will see if you are making that progress in learning to play the piano. If you're not even capable of playing the piano, then it's not. I always say if you like something and you're very good at it, but you don't make any money with it, it's a hobby, right?
yeah,
If you like something and you're very good at it and you make some money, it's your work, your profession. And
yeah.
if you do something where you're very good at it that you don't like and you make money, it's still your profession. But the hobby part, I know a lot of people that made their personal interest, like playing a piano or singing or whatever, in a hobby, and they say I'm a singer, and I say, well, yeah, I understand you're a singer, but you still have a day job because the singing isn't paying you your mortgage, right?
Mm,
So it's basically
yeah.
from a monetary perspective your hobby. So from that side, I would be very realistic in it and say, well, I give myself some time in becoming a good pianist, but I have to abandon this and indeed fail fast and give it up and be a
Mm.
failure or whatever label you want to give it. But the reality of the thing is, if it doesn't pay your mortgage, it's not your profession.
So, if I listen to you correctly, you should set a time frame
Yeah,
on when you want to achieve it, and if it doesn't work, just abandon it.
but the
So
time frame is yeah,
it's more about planning. So plan it, set a deadline,
yeah.
and work towards it. Okay.
Well, it could even be very frustrating if after 3 months you learn that you could achieve it in 12 months, but you only have three left. If you could
Yeah.
extrapolate the amount of progress that you made, you go, oh, I'm not going to be able to become a very good piano player in 3 months, but I would be able to become a very good piano player in 12 months. Then it would be interesting because um, why not spend 12 months? And then you get the creep, the planning creep, what you see a lot of entrepreneurs happening. I'm not going to give up on my idea because I know it's going to work. I'm
Yeah.
going to go to my parents, I'm going to get a loan. I'm going to go to my friends, I'm going to get another loan. Before you know it, you are so deep in, and after 12 months, it's probably going to take you 18 months. You're still not there yet. And there's an opportunity, but it's not here yet. It's going to be there in a few months. And that's the hard part about quitting. If you are far in, you're invested, you spend a lot of time in it, a lot of energy, a lot of belief. Then you have to give up on that and say, nope, not for me.
Yeah, it's more about emotional connection you have with the business. I watch a lot of Shark Tank
Oh yeah,
series, and all these entrepreneurs that come there, some of them, they are too deep in debt. They've borrowed money. They've borrowed money on their house, sold their cars and everything. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of their own money has gone into it, but they are still not making enough revenue to cover anything. And clearly, you can see the sharks explaining why the business is not going to be successful, but they still don't want to give it up. They want to continue because they've invested a lot in it, and the only way for them to recover the money is to make sure it's successful. So they keep going, and those kind of things make them unable to quit.
Yeah, and
So
that's hard, especially in this case when you are invested that much, and also you feel the pressure of the people that gave you the trust with their money, and then you
mm,
spend it, and then you face the reality of not being successful. Luckily, for that particular group of possible successful entrepreneurs, there's also these examples of people that come to Shark Tank and they get turned down and they thrive anyway and they make a very successful business
yeah,
because they just motivated to try harder. I mean, that's just how the Shark Tank and maybe the American dream attached to it works. But I don't know. I think the interesting part is that even though this could happen, I would say that it would be very healthy to have someone near you help you keep your feet on the ground, because you know when you're going this path and you want to be that successful in whatever, you're gonna lose track with that reality if you truly believe in your own success. So you are going down a rabbit hole and you are going to spend endless amount of money and time to make it a success, because that's why you believe in it. So someone that
mm,
sometimes hold up that mirror to you, say, okay, I see your progress, I see where you're going, but in this pace, it's just going to take you too much time. So you're going to have problems. So how are we going to deal with that?
in that case, that person should be a mentor because
Yeah.
if it's not a mentor, you're not going to respect
No. So
their
if it's
advice.
someone you're not going to
You're
listen to, yeah,
going to want to prove them wrong. Yeah.
yeah. But
All right.
yeah, you made the all right sound. It means that we're nearing the end of this episode, aren't we?
Yeah, I think that's it for today.
I
Uh,
think so too. This gave me a lot of stuff to think about. I mean, maybe this topic will come back somewhere in the future. Feels like we have
of course.
unfinished business. That's good. Make it a
Yeah.
cliffhanger. uh, well, in that case, thanks. And, well, let's
Thank you.
keep on chatting next week.
Yep. See you next week.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.